So hello everybody, thank you for joining today. My name is Natalia. I live in Vienna already 23 years, but I was born and raised in Bogota, Colombia, and I'm very happy. Thank you, Abby, for inviting me today to make a little bit of a pickup to the mindful networking. So thank you very much, and thank you all for coming today. Very shortly, about 10, max 15 minutes, I will just share 5 points about the law of attraction that I think are important. So first, I would like to a little bit explain why did I start studying the law of attraction in the first place. And I wrote in purpose the word studying because I was really intrigued, like, if it's true, it really needs to be true everywhere because a law is a law and a universal law must be consistent. So I really dive in 8 years ago into the field of the law of attraction as a study, like reading everything I found important for me and also doing self-experiments and checking if they work and if they didn't, why, and so on. So this is what I will share with you today. So the big why is actually because I felt like checkmate. And then when you see a little bit of a dead end is usually when we ask, okay, then what? And my then what was led me to explore more deeply the law of attraction. And according to myself, I was the best at a lot of things. So the best at school, I had like the how do you say, like the role model title in my high school I had. At the university, I also had the best grades. I had a lot of scholarships, and when I finished my studies, I was rewarded with the recognition award for excellence in studies. And then I was also named one of the 100 best students in Europe. And then I was invited to Roche Continents, a festival or like a seminar for a week for the best 100 students in science and arts. I also did my best at work and several prizes. Even the Colombian president invited me to his palace in Colombia and gave me a plaque of honor, like the best 100 Colombians, also 100 coincidentally. And they published a book with the best 100 Colombians abroad. So I am in that book. I was also thinking I would be the best wife. So I took like a couple of courses, how to be a wife and so on. And I also did my best to be the best mother. So it's probably a profile that most women want to do and make effort to do. And I really came to a point where it was very obvious that I failed. So that's the point when I said, okay, I've done it the best I could, but it's not working. So I would like to know what will work. What can I do now that will work? And this is why I started searching what are the rules of the game. Because when I was little, they explained me the society, if you're the best at what you do, you will get results. Well, I did that. I got some results. I can show you some of my recognitions and awards, but not exactly the results I was expecting for my life. So that was my big question. Okay, if being the best really it's a part of it, but not all, what are the rules of the game? And that led me to really study the law of attraction. So I will share 5 points with you very fast. And I would like you are 5 statements that are true or false. And I would like you to write on the chat 0 if you think it's true, or 1 if you think it's false. And then after that, I will let you know my opinion if these statements are true or false. Everybody on board. Okay. So first I want to tell you like broad umbrella explanation for the law of attraction. There's many explanations what it is, but this is the one I like the most. What you put out is what you get back. So it's a little bit like reality is a mirror. It reflects your state of being, not to reward or punish, very important, this part, but to show who you mission or fall. So negative thoughts are responsible for attracting. So please write in the chat if you think it's true. 0 for true, 1 for false. Okay, thank you. So the answer is false. These are experiences with high potential for transformation. So the experiences that we have that have a really high potential for transforming belong to a different level of consciousness. So then how can we understand these tragedies or situations that we label as tragedies? There are many explanations, as there are people on the planet. Really, every religion has an explanation. I chose 3 that are like the most famous ones. These are lessons that I chose to learn in this lifetime. This is one explanation. These are the themes my soul chose to explore. And one very common is just how life is. And this statement is really true many times. We are here on Earth, and Earth is like that. We chose it to. And sometimes things just happen with no explanation. But we also have the explanation of these are themes my soul chose to explore. So these are 3 possibilities that can all be true. It's not or, is and. So these are the lessons that I chose to learn in this lifetime. And these are the themes my soul chose to explore, and it's just how life it is, or any other explanations you learn when you were a child, or you learn now when you are an adult, or you follow a philosophy or a religion. They all have some explanations, and just pick the one you feel more valid, because these situations that we label as tragedies have a very high potential to transform who we are. So number 2, I must control my thoughts. So please write in the chat, true 0 or false 1. Thank you. So false. For the law of attraction to work, you do not need to control your thoughts. Your thoughts cannot be controlled. The only thing we can do is feel the sensation in our body. We almost have no choice, or actually, we actually do not have any other choice than feeling the sensation in our body. So how to understand? How can we understand it then? Be honest with yourself about the thoughts you are having. And once you are, be loving toward your mind and thoughts. This is very important. They have served a purpose. They have protected you. Mainly our fear-based beliefs or fear-based thoughts are there to protect us. So they have served a purpose. Probably it's a past purpose. Probably it's not benefited anymore. It's not a benefit anymore. But they have served a purpose, and they have protected you. And they made it possible for you to survive. So this is why we just feel what it feels, and that's it. We cannot control them. Okay, so I will a little bit speak faster because we have like 5 more minutes. Number 3, I must force myself to change my thoughts to positive ones. So please again write in the chat true 0 or false 1. Yes, everybody's correct, false. I don't need to force myself to change my thoughts to positive one. So it's false. Thoughts naturally change, but how? When we no longer find logic in their content. Once we find that a thought has no logic anymore, it naturally changes. So we don't need to force them to change. We just need to do a little bit of reasoning if these thoughts are logic or not. And once we make the click that it doesn't make sense, that's it, it's changed. So how to understand it? Ask yourself, how are those thoughts keeping you safe? What are those thoughts protecting you from? And usually when you answer these two questions, you realize they mostly not make sense. Number 4, the only factor influencing what I attract are my thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. So write again in the chat if you think this statement is true, 0. If the statement is false, 1. Yes, it's false. What is else influencing what I attract? The intensity of the desire is the other 50%. So it's not only what we think. If we have a desire that has a lot of density and has a lot of momentum, it can sometimes override our thoughts and it manifests anyway. So this is something most people don't know about the law of attraction, and it's 50% of player influencing what manifests. So this is why some situations or some examples we cannot explain. Maybe the life a person lives with what they manifest, we don't know how intense they are their desire. Maybe they had a lot of situations when they were little or in life that made them build up a very, very, very intense desire. So how can we find out what our desire is? Identifying what is really important for you. And this usually comes when we have experienced the opposite. So we have experienced lack of something. We usually have a very intense desire about the abundance of it if we have experienced lack. And then this is how you can discover what your desire is, or probably you already know it. And the last one, the last statement. I must visualize in order for my desires to manifest. So again, please write 0 if you think it's true and 1 if you think it's false. I must visualize in order for my desires to manifest. Thank you. So my answer is false. Quite the opposite. Visualization is the first manifestation of our desire. So once you can see it in your imagination, it's already in a form in your experience, in your human experience. So that is the first step, let's say, to manifestation. So what do we do when we have images in our mind, in our meditation, or when we are traveling with a train and we have some images? Be open to random images that last less than a second. These are usually very short images, including those that have no relation to each other. This is also very common when we download visualizations from our manifestations. They are usually not, they don't make any sense with each other, are not related. We think they have no association, but they are small downloads from our future manifestation. And they usually last less than a second. One, you become very familiar with this visualization download. They can be longer, but to start is very like flashbacks. Okay, so this is what I want to end with. The law of attraction is a very delicate and subtle phenomenon. This is what I have discovered these past 8 years. And it often feels counterintuitive. So we think it's like big, and the big things are the opposite. It's very subtle and it's very delicate, and it usually feels weird or counterintuitive. And that's why we often overlook the importance of subtle aspects, because we think that big things, strong things are evidence of results. So when we do our law of attraction routine or tools or anything, there are plenty of books that explain how. And you look for evidence, you usually look for big, strong things that happen. But you overlook all the little, tiny, delicate, subtle things that actually happen to you. And these are also evidence that the law of attraction, evidence of the law of attraction. This is what I want to leave you last. And now I want to say thank you